Okay, we're going to create the following 3D model. As you can see, this is like a slot but extruded, and this has a lot of different holes right here, right here, right here, right here, and I think that that would be all the holes that it has. I'm gonna create and take into account first the edges of the 3D model. Why is that? Because as you can see here, this has like a duplicated profile, one above the other, and it is because there is here a rounded edge. So that is what we are going to do here. The first thing that you have to take into account when you want to create a 3D model is that you have to use the view that has or that contains the most information possible. As you can see here, the front view is the one that has most of the information of the engineering draw, and it is important for me to also tell you that this was made by Luis Miguel Huérfano Garzón. He's the one that made this engineering draw, and we are going to start using this engineering draw for me to create the model using Catia V5. So we're going to start with the start, mechanical design, part design. This part is going to be called tutorial 5. Sorry, tutorial 5. Enter. Now we have access to the sketch or to the part design of Catia V5 environment. Right here I'm going to select the sketch tool, select the plane in which I'm going to create the lines. And right here I'm gonna start by doing this shape, the biggest one. So I'm gonna select this option right here. I'm gonna start creating this slot using these 2 clicks. Then I'm going to create a point that has to be at the middle of the line. Right here you can see that I have this point fixed with this axis, and then I'm going to select the constraint option, double click in these 2 options, right click, coincidence. Now I have everything in the middle of the sketch. I'm gonna change this value, but after selecting this one, I'm gonna say that this has a length of 400 watt. Well, since this engineering draw does not contain information about the unit system that it's using, what I have to do, or what I can presume, is that these are millimeters. Okay, remember that when you don't put that information, maybe right here or whatever, that information within the engineering draw, then the person who is going to read it can assume that these are millimeters. So 400, enter. And one way for me to look that I'm using millimeters is tools, options, parameters and measures, and units. Right here I have the length that I'm using, in this case millimeters. Okay, I'm gonna change this value also because this corresponds to this value. Since this is the diameter of this middle circle, then I have to use the radius, that is 100. Okay, so 100, enter. Right now I've created the biggest slot that I need. Remember that you have to take into account the measures that touches the edge of the surface of the profile. Then I'm going to create these 2 circles right here. So this circle is centered with this one. I have to deactivate this option since I need this line as a construction, not as a construction line, but as a view line. And then what I'm going to do is to create these 2 circles. Okay, so double click for the circle option. I'm going to select this point. Once again, select this point, and I'm going to define and I'm going to define this as as follows. This is equal to 50 since I have a radius of 25, and this is equal to 25. They are also telling me that I have the diameter, so this is the length that I need. Something that is actually a mistake here is that this line is not defined since it is using white color. This could be a mistake of the Catia V5 software that I've installed, because as you can see, if I touch the circle and I try to move it, that is not going to move. Okay, I'm gonna verify if I can change that ASAP. Right here, infrastructure, maybe part infrastructure, display. Well, I don't know where to look if I can change that. Scale units, maybe right here. Parameters and measures. Constraint, maybe. Well, maybe it has to be in this part. Display. Visualization. Edges, surface boundaries. Stereo. Well, this is a mistake of the visualization of the software, but don't worry about it. You can check that this does not move. This is fixed. Okay, this is defined and this has to be defined. What I'm going to do next is to select these two circles, and I'm going to create a mirror option right here. Oh, as you can see, this is already fixed. Yep, this was like a vision mistake, maybe a bug. So right here, I'm going to select once again these two, and I'm going to select this mirror option once again. Oh, sorry. Control C with respect of this one. Okay, as you can see, I've created ASAP these 4 circles. Now I'm gonna create once again this mirror option, but with this circle, and I'm going to define this circle right here. This has a measure of 120 millimeters as the diameter. So right here, I'm going to create once again one slot. Control C, because I did not touch the line that I need. And it goes right here. I'm going to create one line since I'm not able to see maybe the middle of the line as I did before. Then I'm going to create this one, and I'm going to say that I need a symmetry line, and that line is going to be this one. As you can see, what I did here is that I've made that this line is exactly at the middle of these 2 points. Okay, now I'm gonna select this option once again. I'm going to touch these two, and I'm gonna say this has a coincidence. Okay, now I can be sure that this is in the middle. Now I'm gonna select this option. This has a length of 40 millimeters, so that means that the radius is 20, and this has a length of 150 millimeters. So I'm gonna touch these two, 150, and that would be all for that slot. Then I'm going to create these four circles. So double click to the circle option right here. I'm going to select this part, this part, this part, and this part. I'm going to say that this has a length, this has a length, this has a length, and this has a length. And I'm going to show you maybe something. Well, I don't want to confuse you right now, but what I can do right here is to change the value of this pot by selecting this option. Okay, but I'm going to show you that later. Then I have 4 circles that have a diameter of 20 millimeters, so 20. Once again, 20, enter, 20, enter, and 20, enter. Then I'm going to provide the information for it to be fixed. With respect of this point, this has a length of 50 millimeters, and this has a length of 95 millimeters with respect of this line. So that line would be same as touching this point. And this is 95 millimeters, as you can see right here. The same thing goes for these 2 circles, so bear with me while I do that. Okay, Control C, this and this, 50, enter, and 95 right here. 95. As you can see here, there is a mistake, and is that the middle of this circle is not touching the line. So I'm going to select this option. I'm going to select the point, the line, right click, and coincidence. Okay, now everything is defined. Now what's left is this last circle, and I'm going to create a mirror for when I do the circle. So circle right here. Notice that an automatic constraint has been created right here. I gotta eliminate that because I don't need that these 2 circles are tangent. So I gotta eliminate that. This has a diameter of let me see, it doesn't bring the measure, I think. Well, this is telling me that this 6, okay, and this refers to these 6 circles. Okay, so 25 as the radius, no, as the diameter, so 25, and this has a position of 80 with respect of this circle. So I'm going to select these 2 points, horizontal view, horizontal measure, and this is 80. Okay, so everything must be defined, although I can, okay, I think that the book happened once again. I'm going to select this option and create the mirror element with respect of this point. Okay, right here I have everything defined. I want to make sure of it. So yep, everything looks good. Then I'm going to start eliminating the lines that I do not need, since you have to remember I'm sorry, that when you are working with Catia V5, every profile has to be defined, and there is no way in which I can use crossed lines. So this is not possible. I know that maybe using some other software like SolidWorks, the software is going to understand that you are trying to extrude or maybe to use some other kind of maybe profile, but in this case no. In this case I have to be perfect with the sketch. Okay, so I'm gonna look for the quick trim option for me to eliminate the lines that I don't need. So it is right here. Double click, and I'm going to start deleting the ones that I do not need. So I do not need this one. Okay, double click. This one. Okay, the same thing goes for this pot. This one and this one. Okay, this is not the one. Control C, double click once again. Select this on this. And once again, this, and this. Okay, notice that I've changed the color of this part. I want to know why. Because this must be defined. Okay, I moved on purpose and I noticed that this line is not fixed as horizontal. So Control C, going to select this line 3 object, and this has to be horizontal. Once again, Control C. Okay, this means that this circle has to take into account a radius. Once again, okay, this is not necessary. Okay, so this is necessary for me to create a length right here with respect of this point and with respect of this point to 100. This is still moving, so what I'm going to do is to create an axis or a construction line. Select this point and this point because these two are vertical. Now everything is defined, although this is not defined. So as you can see here, this point has been moved from this other. So right click, coincidence, and now everything is defined. Okay. I'm gonna use tools, sketch analysis, for me to check that everything is closed. Everything has to be closed. There is not a way in which I can use a profile that uses a word here as opened or maybe isolated. So close, and everything looks nice to me. I get out of the sketch. Then I'm going to use this view. This has a width of 50 millimeters, so I'm gonna select path definition option, 50, enter, and now what's left is to select the edge and create the rounded corner. So I'm going to select this option, which is edge fillet. This tells me, okay, what edge do you want to fillet? Okay, so I'm gonna select okay, what I can do right here is, since these two rounded options are in the front part and in the back part of the part, what I can do is to select this option, and I'm going to select these faces. Okay, I gotta be sure that I don't have, okay, this does not work because I don't have rounded edges right here. So yes or yes, I have to select only the edges. So bear with me while I do that. Okay, there is one. Right here, and last this one. Okay, this has a radius of 5 millimeters, I think. Let me see. Measure was right here. Yep, radius 5 millimeters. So it already contains 5 millimeters. Preview. This is showing me in orange how this is going to look like. So everything looks nice. Okay. And that would be all, guys. I think so. Let me see if I need anything else, if there's something missing. Okay, there's not. So this is how, guys, this 3D model could be done using Catia V5.